This is Super Yacht News with E. Sisman.
Hi, welcome back to the channel. Okay, so we've got action-packed video tonight. It's a dramatic rescue of two men at sea by a 49-meter or 160-foot super yacht named Utopia IV. Now, they were heading from Miami to New York City on a delivery trip. Now, about 3 a.m., flares were spotted by the first officer who was on the bridge at the time, taking his bridge watch. So he woke the captain to explain to him what was going on. With the captain out on deck and through VHF comms, they were able to establish there was a 25-foot fishing vessel that was slowly taking on water and had been drifting without power since about 9 a.m. So they were at 3 a.m. and this vessel had been drifting since 9 a.m. There were two adult males on board and they were trying to make out an SOS with a flashlight when they were spotted. The rescue of both of those men ensued in the darkness. Don't forget, it was 3 a.m. when this was happening. One of the men seemingly putting more importance on his bags than on his life, because he was so determined to get these bags on the vessel, even when the crew was shouting at him to leave the bags. Anyway, he managed to get on board the vessel. They rescued both of those men.
Going ahead. Get to that ladder. Hold on. All right. Get you up here. Cappy's on board. Yeah, got it.
And then the yacht communicated with the US Coast Guard. The vessel was about 60 nautical miles offshore of Cape Canaveral, and the disabled vessel had departed from Stewart in Florida. Now, once the passengers were on board, they gave them a change of clothes and stuff like that, and then they cruised towards Port Canaveral, and then they passed the passengers off to the US Coast Guard vessel whilst underway. Now, we have, as you've been watching, as I've been talking here, there's video of the rescue and then the men getting dropped off in the US Coast Guard vessel. There's the full video, which is about 5 minutes long, is posted on the Super Yacht News channel. There's a link in the description, and I'll put one up here as well in the top corner. Going back to the yacht, Utopia IV, 49 meter. Now, it might sound familiar if you're an OG. The vessel, about 2 years ago, it was the 23rd of December 2021, was sailing in the Bahamas when it crashed into a tanker. It hit the stern of a tanker, and the tanker sank, and it injured a number of people on the tanker, but also crew members of the yacht. When they hit, they were doing about 19 knots apparently. They crashed into the back of the tanker, put a hole in the tanker. The vessel came to a stop very abruptly, and a number of the crew were injured. A number of the crew are now suing the owner of the boat. Now, at the time of the accident, 2021, the vessel was owned by J.R. Riddinger, and I believe it was left to his wife, Lauren Riddinger, after his death last year. Okay, so we'll move on to the next story, and this is about the research vessel Petrel, the toppled research vessel. The ship was towed across the Atlantic by a deep sea tug, and the vessel arrived in Tampa recently, and we had those dramatic photographs from the helicopter from the Bayflight 3 crew that sent us those photographs. Well, we've received more photographs since then of the vessel alongside after that trip, and you can see here that the side of the vessel has been plugged up. It's been welded very crudely to just make it watertight to enable it to make that crossing across the Atlantic. So the vessel obviously is now going to go into another dry dock, and it's going to have all the work done to fix it, and all of the original work that was going on as well, no doubt. Now, the ship had a massive hole in the side of it after they righted that vessel, because it toppled over in a dry dock facility in Leith in Scotland and damaged the side of that vessel. There is a lawsuit in place also from a number of people who were on board at the time. I think they were mainly contractors from the shipyard. Now, the ship was previously owned by the late Paul Allen and was sold to the US Navy in 2021 for an estimated $12 million. Now, lots of people asking in the comments of that last video if that small tug could cross the Atlantic in tow, or towing the big ship without refueling. Well, that tug is a deep sea tug, so it's designed for this very thing. And what I would say, it would be highly irregular for any ship to leave on an Atlantic or on any ocean crossing knowing that they don't have enough fuel to make it to the other side. It would be very, very unusual. So it's very unlikely that they required any refueling at sea. Just like they wouldn't leave without enough food on board, right? Because, you know, where are they going to get food once they get out, once they get off on their trip? So the photographs here anyway were supplied by Richard Hughes. So we'll move on to our next story now, and this is about Steven Spielberg. He finally got a bigger boat. That's a reference to Jaws, by the way, if you don't know.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
He finally got taken delivery of his new motor yacht called Seven Seas. It was finally delivered in the last few days. Now, this yacht was formerly known as Project Y720 when it was in build at Ocean Co in the Netherlands at the Alblasserdam shipyard. His previous yacht was also built by Ocean Co, but this one is 109 meters or 358 feet. So she's about 23 meters or 75 feet longer than his previous yacht, which was also called Seven Seas, which was an 86 meter or 282 foot yacht. His old yacht was sold to Barry Zelkerman, the Canadian steel magnate, in 2021, and that is now called Man of Steel. Now, Spielberg did something which is quite unusual in the yachting industry, and he transferred all of his crew. The entire crew left the boat that became Man of Steel, and they transferred to his new build. Now, that's unusual in itself. Ordinarily, what will happen is the owner will take some people, like the captain and maybe a few crew, but the majority of the crew will stay on board the old yacht. But he took everybody with him, which is highly unusual, as I said, but even more so because the yacht wasn't even ready at the time. So he was paying for a full crew on a yacht that still had 18 months in the shipyard. So yeah, it was very commendable. Obviously likes his crew. It's nice to see the crew being treated well. The boat that is now called Seven Seas, or formerly Y720, was the largest yacht built by Ocean Co at the time of its launch, but it was quickly superseded by Motor Yacht Kourou, or Sailing Yacht Kourou, should I say, which is Jeff Bezos' new yacht. And then that has been superseded by Motor Yacht Infinity, which was reportedly built for Eric Schmidt, the chap who's supposedly buying Alfa Nero in Antigua. All right, so we'll move on to our last piece now. This is a Yacht Spot feature, and this is Motor Yacht A+, and the support vessel for A+, called M2. Now, these two massive vessels were spotted off the coast of Corfu, about 5 kilometers off Corfu town. Neither vessel at the time broadcasting AIS. This was about a week ago. A+ was formerly named Motor Yacht Topaz, and it's owned by Sheikh Mansour. Now, the specs of this vessel are quite impressive. 147 meters. This is the A+ yacht, not the support vessel. 147 meters in length, which is 482 feet. Built in 2012 by Lursen. A crew of 79 looking after this vessel, and can carry 52 guests. So it's classed as a passenger ship in terms of the regulations, because a passenger yacht, the highest amount a yacht can carry is 36. This effectively means that it is built to a higher standard in terms of safety and safety ratings and things like that. Fire extinguishers and watertight doors and stuff like that have to be at a passenger ship standard. So it costs more. It's more expensive to do. Now, the support vessel, which is called M2, is described by Superyacht Times as a yacht, but clearly that is not a yacht. That is a ship. It's 130 meters in length, or 426 feet. Got a massive speedboat on the side there, and a helicopter landing pad extended over the bow. So thanks very much who sent those photographs in. He said he doesn't want his name to be on screen. Okay, so I just want to say one last thing about my former colleague Ursus Peligro. He suddenly passed away recently whilst on a bike ride. He was working on his yacht. He had a day off. He took a bike out with another colleague, and he died, had a heart attack and died. We had a GoFundMe page set up, and the target was €5,000. And after I mentioned it on the channel, it shot up from just under 3,500 to just under 5,000. So I appreciate everybody who donated to that. I realized that you don't know the man. He was a really nice man, and I really appreciate everybody who did that. I really do believe in paying things forward, and I think you know, good things will come to everyone who donated. If you still wish to donate, there is a link in the description. All right, so one last thing before I go, remember to check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/eSysman. You'll find behind the scenes videos, you'll find the patron chat series and the Atlantic vlog series. None of them are found on YouTube. You'll get early access to features advert free. One went up last night, which YouTube won't go onto YouTube until the weekend. You'll get to ask questions for patron only Q&As, and we published a Q&A fairly recently. And don't forget to check out Superyacht News channel. It's all the goodness of these news videos chopped into bite-sized chunks. So if you're on the go, you can watch individual videos here. They're usually around 3 minutes long. Also, don't forget the full video of the rescue of the 2 fishermen is going to be on that channel as well. There's a link in the description, and I'll put one up here also. All right, guys. If you've got any information for us about any of these stories, any other stories, please be sure to get in touch in the normal fashion. You can get us on the About page of the YouTube channel. You can get us on Instagram, on Facebook Messenger, and you can also get us on Threema. Be sure to like this video, very important for the algorithm. Hit the subscribe button and hit the bell for future notifications. All right, guys, have a great weekend, and look out for a video coming over the weekend.
You getting on this boat is more important.
Check your reverse if he's going to come down hard like that. Check your reverse.
Get in the water, man. Dude, get in the